Welcome to GRE Snacks, snackable episodes about the GRE, GMAT, and graduate school admissions. I'm Tyler, the founder of Achievable, and we have an affordable GRE course that includes everything you need to ace your exam. A full textbook, videos on key topics, tons of GRE questions backed by our memory enhancing algorithm, a built in study planner and essay grader, and full length practice exams. You can try it out for free by going to achievable.me, and if you like it, use the code podcast to get 10% off. Now, let's get started. Today we've got Mateo Chang with us, and Mateo, I'd love if you'd introduce yourself and your work.
Hey Tyler, thanks for having me on. Yeah, my name is Mateo Chang. I'm based out of Brazil, but I provide AI systems services to companies in the US by day, and by night I'm doing MBA interview coaching, and that's sort of been a hobby for me. But it became a passion, and last year I hit a nice milestone of having helped more than 1,000 students get into their top five MBA schools. So it's been a ride, but it's been just so fulfilling and satisfying. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's great. And today we're going to be talking about both of those things simultaneously,
Nice.
right? Because we're going to start with talking about AI. And yeah, I mean, there's so many different like ways to start this conversation and things to cover. But I think let's start maybe with the big picture, and then we can drill into the specific things, right? So, I mean, AI obviously is the buzzword of, the moment. And there's been a lot of AI companies and a lot of sort of promises those companies have made about how they're going to change the way that we work. And certainly you're seeing some instances of that. For instance, I can tell you that a lot of the cover letters that people send when they're applying to jobs at Achievable have been written by ChatGPT, right? You can just tell after a while. And so I'm curious, like, how do you feel, first and foremost, like, big picture, AI is going to impact just the business world generally, not just tech, which obviously is going to be an early adopter of it, but really everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So you're talking to an AI evangelist. So my opinion may be slightly biased, but to give you the overall scope, let's kind of bring it back a little bit. AI actually has been around for about 70 years now. Um, the majority, the masses are only hearing about it now because of, uh, you know, LLMs like ChatGPT, Perplexity, DeepSeek, Claude, right? And it's a much simpler way of using AI compared to what AI was in the early days. Uh, and it's only just a fraction of what AI as a whole is. So I'm saying that because if you look at ChatGPT and the usage of ChatGPT at face value, and you don't consider what AI has been doing to the industry already for the past 70 years, there's no way you can actually say that, hey, I'm not sure AI is really going to change the way we work. I can
Mhm.
absolutely tell you it is going to change the way we work. I'm going to give you just one quick case. So, for a company here in Brazil, actually a bank, right, for their credit analysis department of around 68 analysts, they were in charge of analyzing 10 terabytes of data coming from 38 different sources every month to provide 52 different reports to the directors, right? Executive level. Now, they took a whole month, 68 people to do this. My company, we came in, we built out their system, automated it, and now we can do that on demand. What they do in a month, we do it on demand. They let go of 66 employees, which means there's only two
Woof.
people. Yeah, they let go of 66. Two guys left, and we joke because we say one guy is there to press play to generate all
Mhm.
these reports, and the other guy is there to press send to send it all to executive level. They don't have to press it; it's all automated anyway. They're just there to make sure that the data is correct before it gets sent out. But I mean, for that bank, it's a huge return. And
Mhm.
for our company, I boast I can 10x your bottom line, and people can't
Right.
believe me. They're like, how? And I just say, look, what do you spend the most time on? Because we can create an AI system that can absolutely help you save on 66 salaries. Now, very unfortunate for the 66 people that were let go. And
Right.
it's the reality of the business scenario landscape. I think AI will take many jobs, but more than AI itself, I truly believe that people who know how to use AI will take the jobs of people who don't know how to use AI in the general
Mhm.
sense. That helps me segue into the case, the example you gave me with with the cover letters all being
Mhm.
written by ChatGPT.
Mhm.
That's a clear example for me of people who don't know yet how to use ChatGPT to their favor,
Mhm.
in their own words. You can actually provide custom instructions so that ChatGPT can sound like you. You can train ChatGPT in a way where it does not sound like ChatGPT, and there's no way it's going to sound like ChatGPT. So there's a lot of chatter within like the MBA consulting world. Like it's a split. It's a very, very clear divide between,
Mhm.
is it ethical to write your essays using AI? Being that a lot of these consultants, they do the revision and they help with the essays versus, hey, can a student write his own cover letter to a Harvard application and do it in a way where it doesn't read like ChatGPT. And I'm on the side of the fences where this year I've helped. I'm not going to specify the schools, but I can tell you, top 10 schools, we used ChatGPT for almost 100% of the essays, and 90% of them got in. So
Wow.
it depends on how you use it. It's your ability. You know how a basketball is only, how much is a basketball now today? It's like $20. A decent basketball, $30.
Sure.
Yeah, $30, right? Basketball's worth $30 in the majority of people's hands. But you put that basketball in Michael Jordan's hand, and how much is that basketball worth, right?
Right.
Same concept
Well,
with
it's
AI.
yeah, like I get what you're trying to say about like how you use the tool, or maybe another way of putting it is like, Leonardo da Vinci had the same types of paintbrushes as everybody else, right? Or at least to a certain extent. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's very interesting. I definitely can see there's like a couple of different directions we can go from here, but certainly, like, let's start with what you've already covered. Number one, people are going to lose their jobs over AI, and I think if you think that you're immune to that, then you're being naive because I remember even like when I was in my 20s, I was in San Francisco talking to my other 20-year-old San Francisco friends. And they were like, oh, like those people who lost their jobs in the auto plants in Michigan. Well, like that was obviously going to be automatable. Like, luckily, I'm doing software sales, and no one can replace that. And it's like, I remember even back then, I was like, I don't know. I mean, they were in their 50s. I feel like by the time we're in our 50s, that we're going to be in trouble. And here we are. We're not even in our 50s, we're in our late 30s, right? So I think don't assume that you're immune to this no matter what. The big thing, though, is not, I mean, unfortunately, it's going to happen whether we like it or not, right? Like capitalism will always optimize and cut costs, and those poor 60 plus people losing their job, like we could have prevented that once, but like at a systemic level you can't prevent it, right? So what can you do about it? And to your point, it kind of, your second thing was it's going to be about learning how to use the tools and use them well. um, my question for you is, are MBA programs actually teaching those skills yet, right? I'm sure that like certainly MBA programs are having AI courses already, I bet you. But are they, prepared, they're big, slow moving institutions. Are they prepared to catch up to kind of the speed of this revolution and also get people to be able to use, like, basically you would get an MBA to learn how to use AI well, for instance.
Hmm. Okay, great question. Let me just add a little bit onto that example you also said. I was talking to a coach last week. He's a coach for top level CEOs for, yeah, I think he has about 14 Forbes 200 CEOs as clients. And we're talking big, like big companies. Many well-known tech companies. He's right in the middle of Silicon Valley. He lives on the street, like across the street from the CEO of like DoorDash, and, you know, all these tech companies. And he was telling me the other day, I was asking him, I was like, hey, you know, what's it look like for software devs? He's like, dude, none of these guys are using devs anymore. Everyone's on AI. Um, so
Right. Well, they're using like Cursor or other things, and then they're just reviewing the work that's done, and they're not actually doing the work anymore.
exactly. So having said that, you know, it's not even the 56-year-olds like the credit analysts that we kind of pushed aside with our system. You know, we're talking 20, 25-year-olds, you know, so it's coming for everyone. Schools. So that kind of segue again, that segues well into this kind of mindset I have. Many of the programs are still playing catch up. Top schools like MIT Sloan, CMU Tepper, they've already integrated AI through labs and electives. Stanford MSX, Berkeley Haas has like their focus on AI ethics. MIT's MBAN is focused on like analytics. They have professors and corporate partnerships that are in the works. New York Stern, I know that is working closely with Amazon for an AI focused program. Uh, they're all playing catch up, but
Yeah.
even those who are at the tip of the spear of this whole LLM and agentic kind of focus of AI, they're also all playing catch up. You see what happened with DeepSeek when it came onto the market, and then now Manus, which just destroys DeepSeek and ChatGPT, puts everyone, all of them behind. It's a very much a Formula One race up ahead at the tip of the spear of AI. Everyone in the back, we're all playing catch up. All of us.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I'm working with specific systems and operations related automation, and it's not really LLM focused, but I'm still playing catch up too. All that to
Mhm.
say, as much as you want to look for a program that's going to teach you I think it's very akin. I have a friend of mine who has an AI course that teaches you how to use ChatGPT the right way. And excuse me, a lot of his work helped me with building out the essays and the cover letters and you know, and helping my students prepare for the interviews with ChatGPT. So I credit him for that. But he once told me, he's like, with ChatGPT, the AI, these LLMs coming on, it's like we discovered fire. It's like when the caveman discovered fire, and everyone's scrambling to figure out how to control it, how to use it. And some of them are starting wildfires, while others are making gourmet Michelin star restaurant, you know, meals with fire. Some are using it to warm their homes, whatnot. That for me was key in my advice to anyone in any field, in any industry, in any moment of their lives. Just go pick up the ball and use it. Use AI as much as possible. Practice it, because if you put in the 10,000 hours of trying to get better at it, to trying to get to a level of mastery, even though you won't be at the spearhead of the AI world, you're still going to be massively ahead of 85% of the people who aren't using AI at all. It's a matter
Right.
of really just getting your hands in the mix and just using it and learning and watching YouTube videos and I think It depends, right? Like if you're thinking of building an LLM, yeah, there are some programs that you can absolutely use, go through to learn how to create your own LLM. But I think for most of
Mhm.
us, using an AI, using a ChatGPT in our day-to-day lives to automate, time consuming tasks is an absolute must.
Yeah. Well, so then if MBA programs, they're about as good as we are at figuring out how to use this stuff, then maybe the next best place to change topic on is how is AI going to change both the MBA application process and then the programs themselves? And I think we can start with the application process because that's you already touched on it a little bit. I think when I've talked to other people on this podcast, the general consensus advice has been sure, you can totally use AI to do research. You can totally use AI to put together drafts of stuff, but you should always write your essays in your own voice. And then you're saying, you had ChatGPT write essays for people and most of them got in. So tell me a little bit about that story, right? Like, and kind of like, obviously, you don't have to reveal anything proprietary, but just like how AI is able to write something in an authentic voice like that.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. So there's a couple of questions in there that I'd love to answer. So let's start with this. Okay. So there's nothing proprietary at all because these are skills that anyone can learn. I'm gonna walk through basically on how I sort of trained my ChatGPT. So obviously you have to pay the pro one so that you can provide custom instructions. And you ask ChatGPT, hey, I need your help to become my prompt creator because everything starts with a prompt, that instruction. So you
Also,
act,
ask ChatGPT to help you write the prompts. That's so funny.
yeah, you
I don't know why I've
ask
never thought of
Chat,
that.
dude, try it. Go ChatGPT. I want you to teach me how to create, like, I want you to help me create a prompt that I'm going to use on your platform. And I want you to scale it from 1 to 10, 10 being the perfect prompt, right? So I need you to ask me the questions that you want. Can we begin? And it'll say, yeah, go ahead. What's your prompt about? And then you start explaining it. And you don't even have to type this down. You get your phone, you put it on the microphone, and you just start talking into it. Hey, ChatGPT. So the prompt I want to write about is I'm helping a candidate apply to a school, an MBA program at Berkeley Haas. And what I want to understand is these are the questions that they're asking on their essays, blah, blah, blah. And you give as much context as you want. You hit send and it'll generate a prompt for you and it'll give you a rating. Hey, this is still a 6.5 out of 10. What are you looking for? Do you want me to integrate Berkeley Haas's culture or Berkeley Haas's ethos into the storyline, right? And it'll start
Right.
asking you these questions. You just keep building it, keep building it until you get to a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. Once you have that prompt, you wait. Now here's where because I don't want to go and use that prompt. I want to use that prompt to then create a custom instruction that's going to give ChatGPT more context, right?
Mhm.
So, and then I do kind of a flip. I use Perplexity AI because I think Perplexity for research is much better than
Mhm.
ChatGPT. Perplexity cross-references several different sources and it will cite its sources. And that's always a good thing to check. So I'll go into Perplexity and I'll go, hey, I need you to research everything you know about the Berkeley Haas MBA ethos and the program and the culture and students and right, the success, all the information that you want. It'll pull it up for you in a matter of seconds. And then you start refining your prompts and the information you have as Berkeley Haas. And then you put it together in ChatGPT and you ask him, go, hey, now I need your help to create a custom instructions with all this context that you have.
Mhm.
And it'll help you create your own custom instructions. That's when you create your own kind of trained ChatGPT, put the custom instructions in, and then push in the prompt. Now, when you do the
Mhm.
prompt, you're going to have to include your own story, right? Your own essay. And so there's two ways to go about this when you hit that prompt. Either ChatGPT is going to ask you to upload the document. So if you've typed up your essay and it's kind of, hey, okay-ish, then you can push that in there. Or you hit the audio button and you talk about your story. So let's say if it's a question like what matters most to you, and you just go off. I would never let the audio go longer than maybe 8-9 minutes. So you can
Mhm.
kind of say, hey, I'm going to send you another audio. I want you to update your memory with this first batch. And then I want you to continue on collecting this information to help me build this essay. Then you go off and you continue talking about what matters most to you. The prompt that you built is explicitly help me tell my story and answer this question that aligns with Berkeley Haas's ethos. So when you
Mhm.
finish your story, your essay comes out. Then what we do is we filter out the ChatGPT words, right? There are certain filler
Mhm.
words that ChatGPT loves, and then that's when you kind of get into
ChatGPT
refining.
loves to use vocabulary
Yeah,
when not much is needed, right? Like one of my friends made this joke that he said, "Oh, ChatGPT, it has such a beautiful tapestry of ideas."
tapestry. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
the
it was
tapestry
like
thing.
no one talks like this.
Yeah, it's a mess, man. But I mean, you mentioned about the whole MBA applications process. Number one, I already think the MBA application process is broken. I've always believed that. It's been about 6 years that I've been trying to think of ways to accelerate the brokenness of it. There's just so much wrong.
What's like just too much work or like
Yeah. I would say just the candidate selection process. Like, for example, there was one student who, I mean, I've never seen this kid. Like, his essays were poor, in my professional opinion, looking through over 1,000 essays in my entire career.
Mhm.
He had a very low GMAT too. It was like 620. Very low, very low. He was applying to a top school. I'm not going to say the name of the school, but I was like, there's no way this kid's going in until I saw his last name and what that last name was associated with. And he got in.
Mhm.
He got in. Actually, two top schools. And I was like, what? Yo, I mean, that, and then I had a student who, I mean, she was an incredible, brilliant student from South Africa. She had created an NGO that she raised like $14 million, like on her first campaign there. And I was like, this is
Mhm.
incredible. This girl she's going to, she's going to make an impact in South Africa, like poverty ridden areas. This is nuts. She didn't get in. I was like, and she had like, her GMAT was incredible. Can't remember the exact number, but I know it was above 720. It's higher than 720, 730. That's when I started to get the sense like, hey, this is biased AF. I mean, this is nuts. And then AI came into the scene, and now I figured out, okay, I know how AI is going to change this landscape. In fact, I have a project that we're starting. We're going to kick off at the end of this year. I'm waiting on 3 more clients on our system side that will help fund an MBA, let's say an MBA consulting platform alternative to, let's say, the premium consulting world. And that behind it, there's going to be an AI engine that's going to collect the right data. And the way I kind of want it, I think the application process can be fixed is AI works best if you have past data. The more data, the larger
Mhm.
your database, the better it can help its predictability. So let's say, for example, Tyler, you're applying for an MBA. You go through my platform, and you'd go through the entire process. You've sent in your applications. You've done all the requirements. You've ticked all the boxes. But let's
Mhm.
say I have access to data from all of the students that have applied and graduated from that program. And it helps me calculate the probability, not only for you, but also that's data that the school could absolutely use. Like, hey, Tyler, he's got an 87% chance of being the right fit and having the success that you guys have had in the past 60 years of existence.
Mhm.
Wouldn't that school want to buy that information? Like, I think, I mean, it's a very ambitious plan or idea that I'm trying to create, but I think if it's not me, some other brilliant guy is gonna be able to have the access to that information and create their own. And I don't doubt the schools will
Right.
already be trying to do this on their own as well. So yes, the MBA application
Yeah.
process is gonna change.
I mean, that definitely is a good segue into kind of the next part of what I wanted to ask you about, which is like, how is AI going to change the MBA programs themselves? And it certainly seems like, everybody is kind of using it in two main ways. Like, I would say number one is roughly like automation, and number two is generation. But now it's kind of sounding like there's like a third way also, which is sort of prediction. And I feel like there's a lot of ways those things can be applied to the processes of an MBA schools, both like their admissions office, which is kind of what we can see, but also even like just like their internal processes and things like that. Obviously, we don't need to talk about their payroll systems, like that. That's not that relevant to this audience, right? But I'm curious, kind of how you think it's going to change the way that these programs admit people, and also that they how they're run.
Yeah. Well, I think MBAs, so the death of the MBA as we know it, will start once the AI starts changing this entire landscape and hits mass, and more people are starting to understand how that's leveling the playing field, because you basically have the knowledge of a CFO of a multi-billion dollar company at the palm of your hands. And if you know how to extract that information, um, then you're on the same playing level field. You're on the same level of playing field with that CFO who's making $140,000 a month. It's offensive for some C levels that I've spoken with, but it's the truth, man. Like the ChatGPT alone has 4.75 trillion data points. That's like going to a library and ChatGPT is the librarian, and the library has like 4.75 trillion books. And if you ask the librarian, hey, teach me about finance, like you're going to get hit with a terrible reply. But if you understand how to help that librarian find the financial information that you're specifically looking for and how that affects overall strategy of a business, then you get a different, reply. You get the right book, right? Having said that, I think especially with
Well,
the
you don't
pro,
even nowadays. It's more like you get the summary of the book, you get the cliff notes, which is arguably better, probably for synthesis of information. Like if you remember the Matrix, right? That the whole idea where he just sits there and gets the helicopter instructions downloaded into his brain. I mean, I could go to ChatGPT right now and say like, train me how to fly a helicopter, and it would be a lot better than going through a 1,000-hour course.
yes,
Like, would it save me all the time from all of the possible things that can go wrong? Definitely not.
definitely not.
But I think that, this technology is going to keep improving, right?
But you touched on my point perfectly. You can have the general knowledge. You can have the same level of knowledge as somebody who's been flying a helicopter for 40 years, but you still need the practical part of it. So although I think the MBA educationally, it's going to change. It has to change. It has to adapt. What it's actually going to bring for students who are doing the MBAs is not only the networking and the relationship, but the strategic thinking that it's going to help you build and develop from the tenured professors who have seen the cycles of the market, the ups and downs, the lefts and rights, and that kind of experience. MBAs will have to rely on much more than textbook theory. It's
Mhm.
yeah, and that's I
Well,
think
I have more
those
than
are
textbook theory, but then also, you know, I think it's kind of the acceleration of everything. I think it's going to create a situation where people who are good at learning are going to start to pull away. Because I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is just me being lazy, but like I've learned most of what I know about my job, like on the job. but I haven't really sat down and like studied how to do XYZ, right? Like if I want to learn how to run Google AdWords, I just go do it and then like I maybe will watch a couple videos on it, right? But I think now it's like, okay, if I can get an AI to teach me how to do it correctly and save me 3 months of trial and error at the beginning, and then multiply that by everything that you're doing all the time, and I think it's going to end up with a situation where people that are really good at learning are going to learn faster,
Yes.
and that'll kind of be a recurring loop.
Yes. And so it goes back to kind of went back to around to like certificates. Do you really need a
Mhm.
certificate, or can you get that course through, any one of these LLMs? And then it goes back to, really understanding how to use AI. You can extract incredible amounts of information that serves the purpose of what your objective is, and very quickly. Like I've drafted contracts, um, you know, with AI. I mean, you hear the use cases, and you're amazed by them. And then I've spoken with friends who are like, yeah, but I just can't get it to do that. And I just keep telling them is you're not using it enough. You're gonna figure it out. You have to figure it out. And it goes to what you're saying. It's like some of those people that will learn faster and who are able to kind of converse in that sort of language where a
Mhm.
robot can understand you to help get you to where you want to go. Those are the ones that are gonna really excel, and it is what it's going to be. The next 10, 15 years is going to be crazy. Even if you're looking at education, I have a 9-year old and an 11-year old. My wife goes nuts, but what we're doing right now, I'm just like, hey, take a picture, send it to ChatGPT, ask it to help you, and I'll sit next to ChatGPT and watch it help my child like understand the concept. And I make sure it doesn't give the answer right away, but it gives the
Mhm.
answer so that we can double check. So it's a way for me to help my child learn. But I think when he gets to high school, he'll just go, hey, answer these questions for me. I'm not going to be able to, handhold him the entire way. And so even education at the elementary level, things are going to change. Um, there's a school that just I know because you're touching on a topic that I'm passionate about, and we're like in this
Yeah.
world. So it's just so many things. There's a school that replaced it was in the U.S. I can't remember if it's in North Dakota or something like that. They were having an issue with faculty. They replaced their faculty with AI, and for the first time in history of that school, they've reached top 6% of testing scores for their students. Now that inspires me. Actually, I'm about to embark on a project here in Brazil where there's an AI avatar company that's taking the likeness of famous people, but we're going to put it into an educational sort of focus where, let's say, let's say it's Brad Pitt, right? In the US, and you have Brad Pitt teaching you physics. You're
Mhm.
mixing education with entertainment, right? You got who doesn't love Morgan Freeman's voice and voiceovers? And he's talking about, he's talking about, geometry or some whatever obscure subject that we have trouble with. Don't you think memory retention will improve when you're enjoying listening about, a specific topic you're struggling with at school? So I think, yeah, AI is gonna change everything. That's so
Yeah,
that's
no,
such
it's going
a
to be crazy. That's so cool.
yeah.
Well, great. I mean, thank you very much for sharing all these thoughts. As we wrap up here, is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to make sure you said before we log off?
No, not at all. I just want to reiterate. I mean, just go and use it. Start using it. See what it does. See what it doesn't do. What it can do better, and ask it to help you to do better. Like if you ask ChatGPT to help you build a better prompt, it'll help you. It's nuts. So I'd say just go out
Very
and
cool.
yeah, go out and practice. Thanks so much for having me on, Tyler.
Yeah, you're welcome. This has been GRE Snacks, hosted by Tyler from Achievable with Mateo Chang. who has his own consultancy. Achievable has a great online GRE course that you can try for free at achievable.me. If you check it out, be sure to use the code podcast to save 10%.